I've got 7 different celebrity bourbons. Let's try them and rank them. There are a lot of gimmicks out there to try to sell you whiskey, and one of the most popular is celebrity endorsement. But they've taken that one step further, and I blame George Clooney. He was able to grow Casamigos, sold it for, I don't know, what they sell it for, $300 million or something like that. And so ever since then, celebrities are like, okay, instead of just getting paid to endorse a whiskey, much like Matthew McConaughey here with Longbranch, what if we just made our own? Why don't we just own our own brand, partner with somebody to make it and put it out, and see if we can't maybe grow something beyond what we would be able to make with just an endorsement. But are these any good? Just because some of them may be cash grabs doesn't mean others aren't fantastic whiskey. So I'm gonna try them all blind. We're gonna rank them from worst to first. But before we do that, let's get into our lineup here. First, this is Wolf Moon by Jason Aldean. This guy checks in at 80 proof, straight bourbon whiskey. At 86 proof, this collaboration between Matthew McConaughey and Wild Turkey, Longbranch, which is refined through mesquite charcoal. And this Black Steel is released by Dr. Disrespect, the popular gaming live streamer, and it is 93 proof. Puncher's Chance is by Michael Buffer, which is the brother of Bruce Buffer. I didn't know they were different people. And this is 90 proof. This one is Brad Paisley's American Highway Reserve, and its gimmick is that it was aged in the back of a semi-truck as it traveled along with Brad Paisley on one of his tours. And this is 96 proof, and this is Bob Dylan's Heaven's Door. Now this is the 10-year-old version, which is a limited release from them. Probably the least fair out of this competition because this is much older whiskey than I assume are in most of these. That Longbranch might have a little bit of age coming from a major distiller, but this is 100 proof as well, so it's like, that's definitely the favorite going into this. And last but not least is Alan Jackson's Silverbelly, which clocks in at 91 proof. So let's get into these. Jill has been kind enough to blind them for us here into little small bottles. I don't know which one's in each, but you will as we go through it, because the editors, through the magic of editing, they'll be able to tell you what we've got going on here. 7 different whiskeys here. I've got them labeled. I don't know if you could see that on camera, but I've used a dry erase marker to label them 1 through 7, 1 being here all the way through 7 on that end. Now, 7 is too many to blind and rank. I'm just gonna let you know. If you're just trying to blind them and pick your favorite, fine, that's not too bad, but to actually line them up, this could get a little out of hand, but let's see how it goes. And I've had all of these at some point. I haven't drank a lot of them, but none of these are bad whiskeys. Oh, that's a little plain, a little simple. Again, not bad, but probably right around that average whiskey range. Okay, a little more oakiness to it, a little nuttiness to that one. I definitely like that one better than 1. A lot more going on with this one. It's got a sharpness that I don't love about it, but much nicer mouthfeel than I get on 1. And overall, like I said, a lot more nuttiness, a lot more evolution in the palate. This one's incredibly light looking, 3. Not bad, really sweet, not a ton of oakiness on that. It's just kind of that corn sweetness almost all the way through. I think even with its simplicity, I like it better than 1, but I think this one is quite a bit ahead of these. I had a good idea, and these son of a guns had beat me to it. I was thinking, what if we had a subscription club to where quarterly you would just get mailed 4 random samples of whiskeys from small distilleries that you had probably never tried. Then you could try it. Write down your thoughts and tasting notes, and then scan the QR code to find out what the whiskeys are. Turns out, this is a solid whiskey from Devil's Creek Bourbon in Mammoth Lakes, California, that actually only has 80 barrels in existence. So this is a really fun club, and that's exactly what Blind Barrels has done. Fantastic packaging, 4 different samples from small distilleries, a card here that goes over the theme for this particular release, a tasting table, and a QR code for you to reveal what these samples are. As always, the link to blindbarrels.com is in the description. It's like 59 bucks for a quarterly subscription, which is a lot less than I would have charged you had I got this off the ground. That one's got a little bit of a bitter note to it. Definitely got a nice flavor. Real sharp though. Like it just turns into kind of a sharpness. Those are simple, but they don't have the sharpness that that one has. So this one has more flavor going on to me, but there's just like a harshness on the oak that I don't love. And I'm wondering if that's the wild turkey, if that's like that mesquite charcoal that I'm tasting. Could be. Could be. I'm not sure about that though. Been a long time since I've drank most of these. I'm going to put it above these because it has a little more going on, but I'm not sure. Like it might be, yeah, it's better than that, even though it's got kind of that bite I don't like about it. I don't think I could put it above that one though because of that harshness. Although, that does seem to have a higher proof. I'm wondering if that's the Heaven's Door. I don't know where they source these from, if it tells us where that comes from. And I don't need to guess them. The point of this is not necessarily to guess them. It's distilled in Tennessee, so I don't know if that's got George Dickel in it. Sometimes George Dickel has a mineral taste to me. And sometimes when it gets a lot of age on it, you can mash that or you can blend it with other stuff, but that mineral taste kind of leaves kind of a harsh sweet bitterness, if that makes any sense. Yeah, because it almost tastes like not a complete George Dickel, but like maybe it's got some in it, or maybe they just picked a barrel that has a lot less of that mineral taste. So I'm gonna bet that's the Heaven's Door, going back to it. I don't think I like it better than that though. This one's got more flavor, it's got more proof, it's got a lot of things I typically like, and I would bet that some of those intangibles, some of those things that are just other than flavor, would probably make this one rank higher on a Brewzle score. But just sitting here enjoying them, I think I like 2 better than 4 at this point. All right, let's get through number 5. Okay, now we're getting into something kind of interesting here. Got some decent sweet flavors to it. I think it's better than 1. Yeah, like it better than 1. This is where it starts to get complicated. Yeah, like it better than that one. This is probably where it's gonna fall. We're gonna see. And at this point, it's where my palate just starts to shut down. The harshness, like, there's so many good things there, but there's just that harshness that's killing me. It might be pushing above that one. The more I drink that one, the more muted and tame it tends to be. But there's some things going on. And as the second pour of the day, I was picking up a lot of subtlety, but now that we've been through a few, I don't know if it has a strong enough flavor or those intangibles to carry it. These are pretty neck and neck. This one's kind of in a valley by itself, and these guys are a little bit further down. This one has, like I said, it has a lot of great things going on. It has all the intangibles to push it higher, but that like kind of George Dickel, almost like it just subtle mineral taste to it. And some of the harshness are limiting that guy, or it would be first on the list. I'm gonna try to do this without drinking 2 ounces of 7 different whiskeys. It's got a decent mouthfeel to it. The flavors are okay. They're decent flavors. It's a little bit of youth to it though. There's a little bit of youth in there. If I had to guess, like right now, I'm having a hard time. I'm thinking one of these may be Puncher's Chance. I remember liking that, but I haven't had that in like 7-8 months. That's probably the Heaven's Door. These I don't know. Like Silverbelly I didn't love. Wolf Moon, that's probably those. And again, who knows if I'm right. And if that's the case, that leaves Brad Paisley's American Highway and Dr. Disrespect's Black Steel. And if I had to guess, that's the Black Steel. Because I remember the flavors being all right, like decent flavors. I kind of like some of those youthful, grainy notes. It has a nice mouthfeel to it, a little bit of viscosity there for a whiskey that, like, assuming it's not the Heaven's Door, it's not real high proof. Coats the mouth pretty well. Overall, a decent sipping whiskey, but not an exceptional whiskey you need to go out and just buy right now. It's not in these guys' league. It's probably a little better than these to me. Like, that's just plain. That's just really, really simple whiskey. That has a slight butterscotch note on it. These are not bad, but I might like this one a hair better. But it's in this category for sure. It is in this league, but I think I like that one a little better. That one's the hardest one to rank, honestly. That's the hardest one because it's got so many things going for it, but so many things not going for it. All right, so now we're going to try the 7th one, the last one, and then we'll go back through and see if maybe we need to make any adjustments in this. Oh, okay. That feels like the Longbranch. I could be wrong. I think both the Longbranch and the Heaven's Door have a good bit of oakiness on them, so I could have these backwards, but if I had to guess, that's the Longbranch. I'm gonna put it right here. 4 and 7 are very, very similar. I'll rank them. I'm gonna go back through them and try to get these in the right order and make sure, but I think we do have 3 distinct categories of whiskey here, of levels, right? So here, let's try to rank these, then we'll rank these, and then we'll rank those, and we'll have our final order. That one hasn't got a lot better. It's, again, not bad. It's like somebody handed me that. I was like, okay, that's pretty good. It's fine. This is a toss-up between these two. When I first tried them, I liked this one a little better. But now that I'm like tasting them, I probably like some of what's going on here. It has a little more softer, a little more butterscotch flavor to it. I probably enjoy that one a bit more now that I'm quite a few ounces in. And again, that one's got that kind of youthfulness to it, but I like it. Like, it's got some things there that I kind of dig as well. These are not expensive whiskeys. These are like, if some small distillery were making these whiskeys, I would be excited about it. And most of these celebrity things are 60, 70, 80, $100 bottles. I would not be excited about any of those at that price. But if I picked up some small distillery and that was 30 bucks, I'd be all about it, no problem. Let's figure out 7 and 4 here. Again, I feel like that's got George Dickel whiskey in it. And I don't know if any of these do. I don't know if Heaven's Door. Heaven's Door is in, what, Nashville? Says it's distilled in Tennessee, so it very well could. George Dickel is in, what, Tullahoma, Tennessee? So it could be George Dickel. It tastes like it has George Dickel in it. And I'm not a huge fan of George Dickel whiskey, but then you have this, and it doesn't have the mineral taste. It brings a lot of the oakiness that you get with that guy. That's tough, though. That's tough, because if you like that kind of George Dickel mineralness to it, this has more going for it, right? It feels like the proof is higher, which is why I think it's the Heaven's Door. It has a lot more evolution and stuff, but if we're just talking about straight flavors, just enjoying it, I'm probably gonna go that route, but I do think this is a more sophisticated whiskey than what I'm getting here on 7. Which is interesting, because normally when we're doing a Brewzle score, a lot of the skewing of the score is around the complexity and sophistication, right? But here, I'm just saying, what would I enjoy the most in a pour? And these are not nearly as complex and oaky as those guys, but I bet it just smells so good. It's muted now that I've drank a whole lot. Like, it's just so much more tame than it was to start with. I mean, so much so that I almost want to because these guys have a lot more flavor going on. That's the problem with reviewing. When you start, you pick up a lot of subtlety and nuance, but after you're a couple of pours in, the ones with really strong flavors tend to start standing out. I still think that's the best one. What is this, 2? I still think that's the best one, to me. This one is not near as good now as it was earlier, but it's still pretty good. Just harshness, bitterness. I'm thinking it's that mesquite, right? So right now, I'm thinking I'm changing the classification, right? These are kind of similar. These are kind of similar in my enjoyability. This is the only one where I'm like, that's pretty good. All right, let's reveal the answers. Y'all already know. Let's look at, what's the last one here? Number 3. Number 3 is on the end, and number 3, so this is the one, I was thinking 3 and 1 were either Silverbelly and Wolf Moon. 3 is Wolf Moon, which makes sense, right? That's just light, not a lot going on, not a bad whiskey. I wouldn't complain about it. There's nothing about it that's super off-putting, but it's just not great either. So now, number 1. This, then, I would think is Silverbelly. And I'm right, Silverbelly. So, again, Not bad, not great. Don't pay 60, 70 bucks for it, right? There's a lot of $30, $40 bottles out there that are much, much better than this. Next is number 6. That's the one I thought was Dr. Disrespect's whiskey, because I like it. Like, that's pretty good whiskey. It's got some fun things going on. It's just got a little youthful note that kind of keeps it down. It has a really nice mouthfeel to it. There's some interesting flavors. So not bad, but I thought that was Disrespect's Black Steel, and it is Black Steel. So, dang, I'm batting 1,000 so far. I won't get all these right. I'd be surprised. So I'm happy with the rankings so far, right? Happy with the rankings. This one, I'm trying to remember how I ordered them. That's the one I thought was the Heaven's Door. I thought that was the Heaven's Door. Number 4. Got it. Maybe I'm good at this. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. All right, so this one was Longbranch. Thinking that's Longbranch. Number 7. Is that an L? Is that an L or a 7? Looks like an L. I'm assuming it's a 7. Wow. So my first wrong. This is my first wrong. Like, that's got some age to it, right? So they put it in a truck, had a lot of heat. Should have made sense. Should have made sense. Although I didn't account for this one. Like, where would this one have been if it wasn't that? It would have been here. That's the first surprise. I'll be honest with you. That's the first surprise so far. Which means, I don't know what that means. Let's see, this one, pretty good whiskey. My favorite out of this bunch. That thing has a viscosity to it. And so one of these is Puncher's Chance, and one of these is Longbranch. Like, those are our only options right now. Longbranch, Puncher's Chance. And I'm second guessing myself on which one's which. Oof, I need to try to figure this out. I was 4 for 4, and then a curveball really messed me up. Like, I just didn't remember that American Highway being that oaky. And maybe I should have, right? Because rapid aging, like if you throw them in a container or something to get super hot, that can add a lot of that kind of oakiness to it that I mistook for the mesquite charcoal. This one has some of that bitterness. So I'm gonna say that's the Longbranch. And does that mean Puncher's Chance is the number 1 here? That's what I'm going with. Longbranch, Puncher's Chance. Number 5, y'all already know. There's no drama for you, but there's a lot of drama for me. Longbranch. Dude, this Puncher's Chance is pretty freaking good. Like, if y'all haven't tried Puncher's Chance for a celebrity whiskey, this is probably the least celebrity whiskey out there. Like, I didn't even know this guy existed. I thought he was just his brother. But dang, dude put out a good whiskey.